Hi, everybody, and welcome back. I know it's been ages, but I'm still here. I'm still actively playing my same games, namely Horse and Leiden, which are the two main games that I play on the channel. Because it has been a while, not just since my last video, but also since I've last talked about my horse game goals, I thought we'd start back by looking at my game goals as of 2022. And then in a separate video, I'll also do a bit of an account tour where I show you how I have my breeding farms, set up now, and take a look through my black market and item inventories. Getting into my first and main game goal, it has been a big goal for quite a while now. It's to get the Egyptian divine horse Anubis. Every time this divine has come around, there's been another divine that I wanted just a little bit more, and I had to say resources up for that other divine, or the other divine had just totally depleted all my resources. I'd really like his gift. The Hestia's gift is always nice to have, so that's one reason that I want him. And the other reason is just that I love his design. I think he's gorgeous. I really have not gone after any new divines on the game, especially ones that have been in the crown. I've only opened 3 or 4 crowns on the live server since that item was introduced. However many crowns it was however many that I would have had in inventory that have been won from events. I have not spent any passes on the crown. That divine that I tried to get was Galahad, and that was just because I have the Lancelot Grail divine, and it would just be nice to have another Grail or two to make getting that harmony pack from Lancelot a little bit quicker. Now, I have tried for some other older divines that have come out in luck items, and I've been surprisingly lucky. I don't have my notes pulled up now on my spending because I always try to keep track of all the divines that I spend items and I spend passes on, but I do remember that I did get Devoted Indigo on my very first Golden Fleece when he came around a couple of months ago. And then Celtic Divine Horse Tyrannus, I got him in a single... No, I think it took me 2 or 3 tries to get him from a Golden Fleece. So my luck with fleeces has been pretty good lately. And I'm hoping that will hold when Anubis does come around. It does seem like the Egyptians are in a current cycle. And it used to be a lot more predictable to predict. It used to be a lot more predictable to predict when the horses in a particular set would come out. Horse would kind of stick to an unannounced schedule, but you could still keep track of it. But anymore, that just doesn't really happen. I know last year there were 2 or 3 Egyptian horses that did come out about the same time frame in the late summer, and then they just stopped. And then about 3 months ago, we saw Sekhmet. And the last 3 months, this is the 3rd month that we've had an Egyptian divine horse. I was really hoping this weekend we would have seen Anubis, but it turned out to be the divine horse set. And yes, I did try, what's he in? He's in the Golden Fleeces. And I used a Themis scale on him. And I used 3 Golden Fleeces, and I didn't get him. And then I just stopped. I probably shouldn't have tried, but I tried anyway. But anyway, I'm really hoping that means that Anubis will be next month, or at least some other Egyptian, and they're going through the whole set, and then I can get him. Another big reason why I want to get him done and out of the way is because I'm just sitting on Themis's scales and I'm stocking up for him. I have 14 now in stock, and those are scales that I could be using on other items. I want to get him done out of the way, and then I don't have to worry about it anymore. So that does get me into my next goal, which is retired coat collecting. So see, I can use those Themis' scales on getting golden apples. With 14 Themis' scales, that's 80 something golden apples. I do still love, well, coat collecting is a bit of a catch-22 anymore. Maybe it's not a catch-22. It's become a bit frustrating, I think. The releases, and I'm going to go off on a tangent here that's been hashed over several times in the retired coat gallery topic, but it has been something that I think about quite a bit now when it comes to coat collecting. The releases are just rather large nowadays. And I do know, of course, like, well, you don't have to go after every coat during release. And I don't. I never have. I only collect the coats or go after the coats that I really like or that are by creators that I really like. I don't have the funds to collect every single limited coat on the game. But the issue is that if you have a really large release, so let's say there are 20 limited coats in the release and you like half of them, that's still 10 golden apples that you need. That's 10 different horses that you need. And then you might even need several Medusa's Bloods, as some of them are Pegasus horses. And I think that was the case for this release. I think there were 12 or 14 coats that I ended up applying. I applied quite a few. And luckily, I do tend to get all of my golden apples from the exchanges or from a couple of divines I had that might give me a harmony pack or a golden apple, or maybe if an event gives it as a prize. So it just makes it kind of expensive. You need all of these different horse species, which is another big issue. I'm still not quite happy with that species expansion that we had a few years ago, because not only do you need a Pegasus now, it has to be either a riding horse Pegasus or a pony Pegasus. Then you have drafts, you have wing drafts, you have draft unicorns, you have wing draft unicorns. It's a lot to go off from. But thankfully, one of my other goals has made it so that having all of these species is not a problem for me anymore. And then I'll talk about that a bit later. But I do have a lot of fun searching and trying to find older coats, like the pre-CS coats. I still really enjoy collecting those, but it's getting a lot more difficult to find them now because some of the creators, their accounts have been deleted due to inactivity, or the account goes dormant and may not be deleted, but the owner has not been active for a while. And if they're not active, even if they wanted to sell their coats, they're not online to sell their coats. So it's been much more difficult to find coats nowadays. But aging point, always got to catch those. But I do, still for the most part enjoy coat collecting. It's not anything that I'll stop. I put way too much time into collecting them. And I am really happy about my collection right now. There was a day a few months back that I spent quite some time setting up separate breeding farms for all of my favorite coat creators. And it was really nice. It's really nice just to go through and see all of my favorite creators' coats in one place. What I did try to do was just set up farms for collections that I had, say, at least 6 or so of, because there are a lot of horses in these farms that are immortal. And even if they're not immortal, I can still use them as fillers until they get too old, and then I just have to not touch them unless I put Philosopher's Stone on them. So I wanted the farms to still be usable, productive. And for me, it just makes it a lot easier. It's more productive and efficient if I can go through and work multiple horses in a row. I don't want to have to sit here and go through 50 million farms. And that's why I have not yet used up the max amount of breeding farms that you can have for a VIP account, however many that is. I'd have to look on the subscription page. And even for me, having all these separate farms now, these are just my favorite coat creators. And then I have all of my other coats and all these other farms. So, even this is sometimes a bit too much, but again, it's still nice just to sit here and look through all of them. I am really happy to say that I have all of the Nash coats, and that does include their coats that they submitted on other servers, but I just put them all under Nash coats. Like Lake Kelpie, it wasn't until a few days ago that I realized I was missing that coat because they had submitted it on a different server and I didn't realize that was their username. But I think now I have all of them. At least I hope so. And Frey coats. I am missing just one Frey coat. It's the one that looks like a snail. So if anybody ever wants to sell that Frey coat that looks like a snail, I would love to buy it because I think that would complete my Frey collection. I'm still missing my Lissy coats. There's several. I'm down to one page of the directories that I'm missing. So it's not too many. I think there's 10 coats that fit on the page in the directories. And then a side goal that I'm working on, like a lot of other creator or collectors, I am trying to complete Viserys's Cat Sith collection. And I have all of the current Cat Sith coats, which is awesome. The final one has not yet been released, unfortunately. And I'm trying to pair up the Cat Sith coat with their respective Cat Sith companion. And so far, the only ones, I think I just have 2. Yes, I have 2. I have the Jaguar Cat Sith, and the palace. And then they're on their coats. But at least getting the cats as companions will be easy. You know, those aren't retired. Getting the coats is what's difficult. And I want that last coat to come out so I can get it and then I don't have to worry about it. But I love all of Viserys's coats. So even if the cat Sith coats are completed, there's going to be another coat that will come out that I'll probably really want to get. So those are a couple other side goals that I'm working on and other projects that I have completed. Another goal that I have, not only with collecting limited edition coats that come out now, I'm also working on collecting pre-CS golden apple coats because these also have a chance to retire either when the creator's account is deleted due to inactivity, or the creator can also choose to manually retire the coat once it reaches 100 uses. And a way that I have been trying to make collecting these a little bit easier is that on another day when I had some spare time, I set up a spreadsheet. It's not anything super extravagant. What I did, I just listed all of the pre-CS creator. So I had to sit down and I just went through the directories and I looked up pre-CS coats and then I did each individual creator one by one. I listed them according to their last login year. Some of these are no longer accurate because the player may have logged in since I last updated this. And I wrote their last login date just on the off chance that, you know, their account could be deleted after 180 days or something, which isn't always the case. Obviously, 2019 has been way more days than that, but they're 180 is not always instantly deleted. So all the ones that are in red, these are creators that I finished their collection. I have them all. And then I also did categories by each of the species. That way then it makes it a little bit easier to tell how many riding horses I need, how many ponies I need, how many Medusa's Bloods I will need. And then I have the total values over here. So yeah, it was a lot of fun putting this together. It's just if you have a few minutes or a couple hours or whatever. I still have 6 more Demure Girl coats and I have 65 coats in total. Although the 65 might be just for these here. All of these players are still pretty much active. They've logged in much more recently than all of the ones up here. But I like golden apple coats too. You know, I would love to have all of my favorite golden apple coats on the game, whether or not they'll ever retire. It's just that the issue is when you're limited on resources, you kind of have to prioritize that which you'll eventually no longer be able to get. Those unlimited golden apple coats will always be there. The limited ones, the pre-CS ones will not or may not. So I just try to prioritize all of those first. And lately, a lot of the pre-CS coats have been retiring more quickly. So just due to account deletion, some of those older accounts, abandoned accounts have, you know, finally been cleared out a bit. And then my final main goal that I have been working on for the last few months is that I am trying to increase my general ranking score. And I think I'll do a separate video on going into a little bit more detail on the different strategies or the tips and tricks that I'm personally using to make increasing my score and my ranking just a little bit more easier based on what resources I want to save. This has been a long process and I haven't really set an end goal. Like I didn't sit down and say, yes, I want to be in the top 200 or the top 100. I want to reach number 1. I don't know. I'm just kind of taking it one step at a time. I think my original goal when I started, because when I really started keeping track in April, which is also when I really diligently began trying to increase my score, my rank was 905, 903. I was close to breaking the 900 mark, and then my actual score was 7.2 million. It's August, late August, and I only recently broke the 10 million mark for my score, and my ranking is in the 690s, 680s. So in like 4 months, I've only gone up 200 spots, and my score has gone up 3 million. you know. It's a long process, and I don't mind that because it gives me something to work on every day. I can work horses daily, or I can age them up if I want to. Because I'll talk about this more in that general ranking video, but just to let you know now, for those who are not aware, your score, this here, these points, this is comprised primarily of the skills of your best 10,000 horses, your trophies, and your seniority counts some as well. I know that the wealth ranking is on the general ranking page, but so far as what we were told, like I think it was 10 years ago now that the formula was released, wealth is not part of this. And I can pretty much attest to this because I never have more than 2 million equus on hand at any time, just because I tend to spend it as soon as I have it. Me being broke has not made my score, my ranking go down. So pretty much what I've been doing is just focusing on getting more horses, getting better quality horses. I will say that the only issue with collecting pre-CS coats is that a lot of them are older, obviously, especially some of those really older coats that, may have retired back in 2012 when Top GP wasn't even 2000. I mean, if you look at these pre-CS coats here, filter by GP, look, 8,000 is the top, and that's sort of an outlier. Most of them are below 2,000. So, yeah, I need more horses, better quality horses, and that's something that I'm working on. It's been really fun to work on, even if it is a bit of a slow process. But then the flip side to coat collecting, though, is that when I do go in the sales and I buy newer coats, some owners do, thankfully, put golden apples, limited coats on higher GP horses. So then I can train them up and I'll get good skills. I try to, when it comes to getting new horses for my trophies, such as the special item coats, I try to avoid buying coats that are on poor genetic horses, poorly skilled horses, because it's just kind of more, it's cheaper in the long run to probably just invest into better quality than buying a bunch of low skilled horses. Although currently I do only have, I don't even think I have 3,000 horses yet. I think I may only have 2,200 horses. So all of the skills on those horses count, except for divines. Divines, I do not think count because I know they don't count for your EC prestige. So they probably don't count for your general ranking either. And then my actually last goal, which is just, it's just something I have to keep in mind all the time, is that I need to keep up my VIP subscription, because some of these perks are perks that really make my gameplay life much easier and a little bit more enjoyable. And then some of them actually help me to achieve other goals. There are 3 perks in here alone that help me with coat collecting. We've got run a search on retired golden apples by number of copies. You may not be able to search by coat name, creator name in the sales, but if you have this perk, this is just as good, because I'll go in the directories, look to see how many copies a coat has, a coat that I want, and then I'll just go into the sales, and then I can just search by number of copies, and then that eliminates a ton of coats. So this is really nice perk to have. We have, of course, the access new creations before everyone else. And then there's one other one, filter by coats that you don't yet have. That one is also absolutely fabulous. Definitely a must-have when it comes to coat collecting. And then, of course, just side perks that are really nice that make gameplay life easier is the auto feed perk, which is up here somewhere. Get the right amount of food pre-selected, and then auto comp is great. Simplified training is amazing because then you can set it per skill. It's just not the same training amount across the board. Yep, always have to remember to keep my VIP going. That and my breeding farms. Yeah, I think we all know how terrible it is to let your VIP account or even your Pegasus account go and have all of your horses get just shuffled in to 5 random farms. It's absolutely terrible. You don't want that to happen. So you need to try to keep up your VIP account. And if you know that your VIP account is going to expire and you don't have enough passes for it, you need to get the Pegasus if you have enough passes for that. And then you can just consolidate your farms in a manageable way. Take notes on where you have to move your horses back to, and then once you get enough passes for your VIP account, you can bump it up to VIP. So there you go. There's my tip for that. I've had to do that a couple of times when I knew I'd be a day or two short on getting the passes for VIP. So I would buy Pegasus instead, as I had enough for that. And then you still have up to 50 farms that you can use. Really nice. So yes, those are all of my goals as of 2022. And then I hope that soon I'll do a couple more videos again on the general ranking, and then I'll try and also get my account tour up pretty soon too. So thank you all so much for joining me today. It was good to be back, and I hope to see you soon. Bye.